Michael Mann, he's the Presidential Distinguished Professor of Earth and Environmental Science at the University of Pennsylvania. Also, he is the author of Our Fragile Moment, How Lessons from Earth's Past Can Help Us Survive the Climate Crisis. All right, Michael, obviously this is not the first conversation we've had about this. It's sadly not going to be the last. This heat wave in the Northeast, the Great Lakes, could be the longest in 30 years, so about a generation. Is this what summer's going to look like from now on?
Yeah, hi, Brianna. It's good to be with you. And unfortunately, yes, this is a glimpse of not only what our future will look like, but in fact, it will look quite a bit worse than this. We will see more widespread and hotter and longer lasting heat waves in the future if we continue to heat up the planet. And so all of this gets worse if we continue pumping carbon pollution into the atmosphere and warming up the planet. That's the bad news. The good news is we can still do something about it. We have to stop making the problem worse by getting off fossil fuels.
How much of a health risk are we talking about here, and what can people do to protect themselves?
Yeah, so certainly heat risk, heat waves, extreme heat is sometimes called the silent killer because it may not be as dramatic as some of the other extreme weather events, tornadoes and hurricanes and wildfires that lead to human mortality. But in fact, extreme heat leads to far greater mortality, especially among the young and the older. And in particular, when nighttime temperatures stay very high, and the human body isn't able to cool down at night and recover from that heat. That is particularly a problem. And that's one of the things we're seeing with this heat wave, not only very high temperatures, but we're going to see very high low temperatures.
So the heat waves are colliding, of course, with hurricane season. And then when you look out west, an earlier than usual fire season. What does this tell us about the bigger picture when it comes to climate change?
Yeah, we're seeing, record flooding down in Florida. We are seeing early wildfires out west in California. We are seeing extreme heat in the Midwest and the eastern United States. And all of this is actually connected to a very persistent jet stream pattern. When the jet stream sort of gets stuck in place and those big high and low pressure centers get stuck in place, you have extreme rainfall and flooding, or extreme heat and drought and wildfires day after day. And that's what we're seeing. And here's a very important point. The fact that we're going to see more extreme heat on a warmer planet, that's obvious. That's an obvious impact of human-caused warming. But one of the subtle impacts that we're just beginning to really understand is how the actual pattern of the way the planet is warming up is changing the behavior of the jet stream and leading to these very persistent extreme configurations that give us these unprecedented extreme weather events. And the climate models that we use to predict the future appear to actually underestimate the impact that climate change is having in creating these very persistent jet stream patterns and many of these extreme weather events. And so, if anything, our models are actually underestimating some of the key impacts. As I like to say, uncertainty isn't our friend here.
Yeah, that is so alarming. I do think that people are hearing the alarms, specifically in some places where they can't get insurance, right? Whether it's for flooding or it's for the threat of wildfires. There are people who are really experiencing this in a very real way, Michael. So what do they need to be doing? What do we all need to be doing to try to reverse course here?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, uninsurability, as I like to say, is the first step to uninhabitability, right? If we can't insure our homes against extreme wildfires and floods, then pretty soon we're losing, vast amounts of area where human beings can live on a planet with a growing population and growing demand on space, on food, on water. So what can we do to make this, to prevent this from getting worse? And again, that's the good news. One of the things that we've come to understand over the last decade and a half is that the warming of the surface of the planet halts fairly quickly when we bring our carbon emissions to zero. And so there is a very direct and immediate impact of our effort to decarbonize our economy. Now, here's the thing. We've got to bring carbon emissions down by about 50% over the next decade and down to zero within a couple decades if we're going to prevent the warming, the planet from warming beyond roughly 3 degrees Fahrenheit, where we'll see far worse consequences of climate change. And so, as I like to say, there is urgency, but there is agency. It's not too late for us to act.
Yeah, we just have to hear those alarms, and they are going off very loudly. Michael Mann, always great to have you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.